please take a moment. If you've not done so yet, hit like and subscribe. Let's do a quick sound check while we're at it. Make sure that you guys can hear me. There were some issues with the sound, technically today, but last night during the 1 a.m. stream. So let's give it a moment. Let's see who joins us. I'm here to chat about Freemasonry. This is going to be a bit of a free-for-all. It's actually going to be a review of my X account. I'm seeing a lot of growth on X, which I'm very happy about. I want to see growth across all of my social media platforms. Good afternoon, Michael Moore. Thank you for being here. But I have, within the X platform specifically, seen a few messages and a few posts and a few things that I really want to discuss. Obviously, last night we talked about the Government of Canada's introducing new legislation, which will, amongst other things, limit the ability of children ages 16 and under to have their own social media platforms or social media accounts. Basically, what it does is it puts an onus on the social media platforms to demonstrate that they have put in appropriate and adequate safeguards, thereby ensuring that children who use the platform are safe from exploitation, as well as some of the mental and anxiety-related issues that can accompany use of social media in children. As someone who makes a living on social media or is trying to make a living on social media, I think that is worth exploring. I want to talk about weather. There's been some real weather issues throughout North America, throughout Europe, and what that means for Freemasonry and our responsibility to our brethren who may be affected by bad weather, be it heat, storms, combination of the above. There's a bunch of other things I want to mention. It's International Play Day. What does it mean to play? I think that's really important to keep in mind. We don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing. I think there can be elements of that within Freemasonry. There's the Fed Dev Ontario applications for grants, which I want to talk about for our buildings. But we're going to give it a bit of time. The first hour, as you know, we just hang out and talk about whatever. Also wanted to talk about inflation, currently at 4.2%. David, I will say trolls are a part of the social media landscape, though I've never understood why people choose to troll when there's so many better things to do with one's life outside of trolling. But that's for another day. I appreciate it, David, very much, and thank you for being here. And Michael Moore, that is always appreciated. And you have to just do the best you can within that context, right? Some people don't want to listen to you, and if that's the case, then so be it, but you do the best you can. For the time being, we're just going to wait to see who joins, though. Please take a moment to hit like, to hit subscribe. I am going to mention also, congratulations congratulations, much respect to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, which announced today that it has sold out its 2 days of TV tapings. It's sold out tomorrow, June 12th and June 13th, both of which are taking place at St. Clair College. I can't wait to be there. I think it's going to be a blast. It will be a blast, obviously. It's great to see Canadian Pro Wrestling back on cable, back on TSN. It's going to be really cool to see. So I'm looking forward to that very much. This weekend, Rainbow in Windsor has a special event taking place at the Windsor Masonic Temple on Saturday, June 13th. So I'll be going to that in the morning before I go to wrestling on June 13th. It's going to be a busy few days, but I'm looking forward to it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Brother Michael Moore. I forget if... I'm sure I met Larry Judson, but I can't think of when. Obviously, thoughts first and foremost are to his family. As my mom, who also had bone cancer and passed away from it, I know how absolutely terrible it can be. Like genuinely, it's absolute hell on both the person who has it as well as the family who has to watch their loved one suffer. So it sucks, but at least we know he's not suffering and he's with the great architect, whatever it is, or however it is you understand that. So, um, I mean, yeah, the name, so I probably met him, like the name sounds really familiar. I can't think of when I met him, but I'm sure I did. So yeah, it's a shame, but good on him. It sounds like he accomplished a great deal in his life. So good for him. Thank you, Hypnotrike. I will take it. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Um, if you are new to the stream, first hour, first 60 minutes, no specific talking points. We just hang out and chat about whatever. The second 60 minutes, I'm going to go through my X feed. It's going to be really interesting to talk about some of the things that have been posted, because I am trying to grow my social media channels. I don't want to just grow, X. I want to grow X, Facebook, Instagram, all of which are growing, but I'm hoping to see them grow more. Nice. Let me know. I'll do my best. I love Toronto, so I've grown to be a fan of it. I usually don't like big cities, and Toronto is a big city, but I've grown to be a fan of Toronto, so I look forward to checking it out. Nice. I mean, everybody who's watching this who is a Freemason, Brother Michael Moore, not just Michael Moore, but several brethren from around the world host a Zoom chat, 3 p.m. Eastern, so 2 hours from now, or an hour 45 from now. It's a really, really awesome Zoom chat. You guys should check it out. Unlike this channel, you have to be a Mason to attend, but I still hope you guys will look into it if you're Freemasons. One of the greatest parts about being a Freemason, without question, is the travel. And if you can't travel in person, virtual travel through things like Zoom chats is actually a really good thing to do. So check it out if you can. I think Pontiac number 21 is putting on the Michigan EA this year in Kilwinning. Nice. I look forward to, like I said, keep me informed. I can't make any promises, but that would be really, really cool to see. Links in the description. Cool. I like using X. Okay, well, Hypnotrike, if you want to follow me on X, actually, let me see. Let me pull up the chat now. I have two accounts, but the main one is at CAMERONADAMSO 16. So I'm not verified. One of the things I'm wondering to myself or questioning is if I want to get verified on X or not. Because if I do, maybe I can look at monetizing at some account. The biggest way to grow on X seems to be just be a reply guy, just for the record. So we're going to give it some time. On your boat in Montreal, making me jealous. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, let me know. I hope your uncle was a handsome fella and you're not sending me up for something. Alper, please hit like and subscribe. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. The first 60 minutes, I just hang out, don't talk about anything specific, just give general chats. The second 60 minutes is when I talk about specific things. And there's some really cool things happening on my feed I want to talk about. So Eric, thank you for being here. There are many Freemasons who are Christians, so many would agree with you. But keep in mind, Freemasonry is not a religion. Awesome workers. Do you mean on your boat? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Freedom Heart Farm, but thank you for being here. And I really want to get back to visiting Montreal. I've been there a couple times, but never for very long. Pope Leo does not say that. Although, having said that, it is my hope, um, absolutely, it is my hope that the Pope reconsiders his view on Freemasonry, or more specifically, allows the church to reconsider its view on Freemasonry. It's a little thing, but the Pope was born in 1956 in Chicago. At that time, Freemasonry was as ubiquitous as it's ever been. He would have grown up around it, would have seen it, would likely have more positive views of it based on that. And maybe he'll have a better understanding of what Freemasonry actually is. Um, and actually, I will say, as soon as he's trying to be more active on Twitter, I have seen, or X, I have seen the Pope post several things that I've been a fan of. So, um, I think he said a lot of things that I think could be applicable to Freemasonry. Um, nice. Dexter, FIFA is on the way. Um, Subversive of what? Subversive of whom? Or subversive of who? Freemasonry is not subversive. I would say Freemasonry is actually the opposite. Freemasonry is supportive. I think that's one of the greatest things about it is the support it shows for communities and the support it shows for people. I think that's really awesome. So no, I do not think that Freemasonry is subversive. I've seen no evidence of that. Um, nice. So Erie, Pennsylvania. How far is that? I do want to also mention, speaking of travel, one of my favorite lodges in the whole world is Morton Grove out of Chicago. It's genuinely an incredible lodge. And they are having their 100th, that's 100th celebration, 100th installation of officers this Sunday. So nothing but respect to them. I think that's incredible to see. They are truly an amazing, amazing, amazing lodge. More positive propaganda. I mean, Craig Hart, I don't like to think of this as propaganda, although I think in some cases propaganda can be viewed as a neutral term. Whenever I write about my favorite movie, you could argue that's propaganda for my favorite movie, but nonetheless, I don't like to use the term propaganda. It's simply me talking about this thing that I love called Freemasonry. Nathan, so Montauk, my first job, I organized a youth sports group for children in wheelchairs when I was 16. I was like a coach, kind of. So Nathan, when was Freemasonry established and why was it established? So the when is debated. I usually go with 1634 in Scotland. That is the year that the first speculative Masons are confirmed to have joined an operative lodge in Scotland at St. Mary's Chapel, the Anderson brothers. There's three of them. However, I think a lot of people would simply say June 24th, 1717. That is the founding of the premier Grand Lodge of England was formed. So there is that one as well. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to say June 24th, 1717. Now, why was it formed? It was formed for the same reason anybody forms anything, a desire to spend time with other people and enjoy one another's company. Also, at that time, there was not near the social safety net that there exists today. And it did provide a social safety net, both in an emotional and sometimes very real and very physical or very financial sense. But yeah, that's when and that's why and that's the where as well. Thank you, Mazer. I try my best to speak the truth, and thank you for the gold coins. I am from Canada, born and raised in Winnipeg, currently live in Windsor. I don't want Kenobi. I had my coffee today, I promise you, and it was delicious, but right now, I got my water. Because we have 2 days of wrestling coming up, I'm trying to stay hydrated, trying to keep fit. I haven't been exercising near as much as I should, but I am going to be exercising today, and I am going to be posting that on social media. So pay attention to that. Justin says I look like a Neanderthal. Yes, I do. Erie, 266 miles. Nice. Are you going to be driving it, taking the train, taking the bus? How are you going to be getting there? However it is, it's going to be awesome. I've said it a million times. Traveling is without a doubt the best part of Freemasonry. And, you know, the most important thing you can do for Freemasonry, period, is support your mother lodge and show up regularly. But the best thing you can do for your Masonic career at a personal level, if you want to grow in Freemasonry, is travel and visit as often as you can and as much as you can. Not very accurate Darth Clorox, but I will say I love it. I've said it before, I love Assassin's Creed. I think it's an incredible game. I think it's one of the Assassin's Creed Part 3. I'm not a big gamer, but I do really love playing Assassin's Creed 3. And I posted some videos of me playing it as well. But yeah, I would say it's not very accurate literally. Having said that, at the start of Assassin's Creed 3, there is a note, there is a statement that says, the game was developed after conversations with a variety of experts and a variety of cultural, I can't remember the exact terms, but like cultural leaders. I'm assuming they were referring primarily to historians and Indigenous or First Nations groups, but I'd be really curious to know if they spoke to Freemasons at all. It is my goal in life at some point to have on this channel somebody from Ubisoft Montreal or Ubisoft in general to talk about Assassin's Creed Part 3, how they came up with the game, why they included the Freemasons, and if the Freemasons had any involvement with the game. That's on my list, but I don't know how to contact them other than I've sent messages through Twitter and X and used the contact form, but no response. Yes, we have a Knights Templar. Brother Michael Moore is part of a lot of stuff, and a credit to the craft. No worries, Brother Courtney. Thank you for being here. And you don't have to be here at any time, so I don't care if you show up right when I start. I don't care if you show up 2 hours late. I don't care if you watch this stream, after it's finished. I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the likes. It's truly, truly appreciated. Don't forget, we still have our Patreon. We always have some cool stuff you guys can check out there. So, patreon.com/GordonCompass. Sometimes I am Mr. Mitz. Sometimes I'm not. It very, very much depends on a lot of different factors and how I'm feeling that day. No, Pastor Sempa, it is not. I'm sure he gets that a fair bit, though. But no, it's not. By the way, I'm just going to say it, even though I'm not a huge basketball fan, I don't really follow it, I didn't watch the game. How about them Knicks? Came back from a 29-point deficit. I posted on my X, speaking of, the final point, the score, the audience, the crowd went absolutely crazy in the stadium, which was so cool to see. But also, I got to give credit, what I've been following, to what New York, and I'm going to include Mondami in this, has been doing with these games. Like, for example, they've been showing the games for free on all of the electronic bus stops throughout downtown. All of the electronic screens. They've been setting up free watch parties throughout New York, because tickets are like thousands of dollars, right? And a lot of people can't afford it. So I think credit to the city of New York for what it's been doing during these playoffs. I think they've been doing a really good job. No idea, Sid. I don't follow soccer. Who do you want to see win? Darth, when you say, oh, Ubisoft, I mean, Ubisoft, I think their headquarters are in Montreal, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure they still exist. I think they're probably the biggest, I think they're probably the biggest, what, video game company in the world? Or one of the biggest uh, video game companies in the world. Are they favored? I mean, I have no idea. I don't really think of Japan as being like a soccer town, but or soccer country, I should say. But maybe. I mean, a lot of countries are absolutely investing in a variety of sports, including and not limited to soccer, basketball, baseball. Sports is a major economic driver in the world, and so countries are investing in it for good reason. It is, after all, today International Play Day, so if you're not playing, you should be. From that movie Tag, which I really liked, we don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing. Um, when you say local soccer, do you mean really excited, like you guys are up for championships, or just excited to see the growth in an interest in local soccer? By the way, I'll say in terms of International Play Day, International Sports Day, a lot of Masonic lodges throughout the world are actually big time supporters of sporting events and sport teams, including youth groups. Like there's Masons for Mitts out of Masons for Mitts out of the Grand Lodge in California, where Masonic lodges fundraise and then use the revenues to purchase mitts for underfunded baseball teams and underfunded baseball leagues with youth. Um, many Masonic lodges will organize trips to sporting events to support local economies, baseball games, whatever it might be. So it's really cool to keep in mind. Good friends of the goalie for Detroit Metro FC. Nice. Cheese and crackers with Coke sounds awesome. Diet Coke sounds awesome. And I like that Detroit FC reps our area professionally. That's awesome. You guys should maybe organize a Masonic trip to a soccer game. I'm sure they'd appreciate it, and I'm guessing tickets aren't crazy expensive. We're going to give it a bit more time, wait to see who joins. And then, as always, please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear it. What is sun tea? Or just are you outside with the sun? I don't know what that means. Is that a type of sun? Is that a type of brand of tea? We're going to give it a bit more time. We're just going to wait to see who wants to hang out and chat. Again, the first 60 minutes, I just hang out and chat. The second 60 minutes, I have more specific talking points. Today, we're going to be going through my X feed because there's some really cool things I want to talk about. So, Ayan, no worries. I appreciate you being here. I mean, I speak two languages. I speak English and I speak bad English. So, just because your English is weak, don't worry about it. I just appreciate you being here. Please take a moment, if you can, to hit like and hit subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. And I hope that you're doing well. Put tea in room temp bottles or a tea pitcher and it's brewed. I've never heard of that. I mean, I guess that makes sense that it would be brewed slowly. Okay, cool. I mean, do you find that the slower it's brewed, the more depth of flavor it has, the better it tastes? I am right now genuinely curious and wondering if there's a way for me to get across to the States and get myself to Chicago for the 100th anniversary. I don't think so. I can't imagine. Because I have wrestling today and tomorrow, those always go super late. But if there was a way I could make it there, I would do so. But even take a Flixbus, I don't think it'd be possible. What is Poppy Pod tea, JG? I don't mind iced tea, but so long as it's sweet. Like I'm a sweet tea kind of guy. So I'm not a big fan of non-sweet tea. Like if it's gonna be not sweet, I like it hot. You should wish I never encounter you in real life. Why is that? RHIDZ. Keep in mind, everything is real life. If you're encountering me here on YouTube, it's still in real life. Now, obviously, I know what you mean, but nonetheless, I like my tea like me, dark, bitter, and cold. That's what Freemasonry does to you. I have not got the AC fixed yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to my landlord yet. I woke up late this morning. I've been so busy. But, you know, I'm going to try my best to get it fixed when I can. I keep meaning to work on it. But I do have the fan. I'm doing okay, so we shall see. Everybody who's just joining us, please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. It's got to be, but I can't find the breaker for... Like, I know where the breaker box is. I checked it. They're all in the on position. Like, yesterday, even just to check, I flipped each breaker off and turned each breaker back on. Nothing worked, so I don't get it. I don't know what's happening. But it's very annoying. It's also annoying because basically every single outlet on this side of my place doesn't work, which means I can't do things like plug in my computer, plug in my phone. So I'm limited in how long I can stream, which is very annoying. Gerald Ford Vega was in fact a Freemason. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Half fiction, I'll take it. I don't think the thermostat needs batteries. That wouldn't affect all the other outlets, though. And thank you for saying you're lesbian Goodwill Hunting. Please hit like and subscribe. My grandpa's grandfather had a certificate stating he was the 32nd. Okay, so grandpa's grandfather, so fourth generation back. That's really cool. And that's awesome that you still have that certificate. My dad and both of my grandfathers were Freemasons. We know that. Beyond that, we think I have a great-grandfather who was a Mason, but we don't know for sure. Neutral, only I've heard. Well, ancient, don't listen to Ancient Aliens. For heaven's sakes, do not listen to Ancient Aliens. But nonetheless, thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take a moment to hit like and hit subscribe. I will say, appreciate Ancient Aliens in the sense that it's fun entertainment, but that's all it is. It's entertainment. You need to be really careful that you don't take it to mean anything more than that, just for the record. But thank you so much for being here. Raf Burgo, please like and subscribe. If you had to ask one question about Freemasonry, half fiction, what would it be? And I'll do my best to answer, but I can't make any promises. What's an open neutral? Is open neutral like something electronic that I'm not aware of? Because I have no idea how electricity works. As far as I know, it's all magic. Hey, Bulba, thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I'm not exactly sure what Freemasonry is. I used to read a bunch of books about it being a secret society that runs the world. You are in the more correct camp. We don't run the world. It'd be really fun to run the world. Actually, I don't think it would be. I think it'd be a pain in the butt to run the world. I would rather not enjoy it. However, it would be, it's one of those things where a lot of people think, unfortunately, due to conspiracy theories and online nonsense, think that we run the world. We do not. So you're more correct with your view on it. It is ultimately a club. It's a club that's been around for about 300 years or more, depending on how you want to date it. It's meant to provide a social safety net for membership, as well as ultimately fulfill the human desire to be with other people and enjoy one another's company. Area of a globe, isn't it pi? What is it? It's pi r squared times 4, right? I am not from Scientology. Jake jaw maxing. What's with all the maxing lately? Everybody's maxing something. I'm trying to social media max. I am from Freemasonry. Freemasonry and Scientology are not the same things. Scientology ultimately occupies the space of religion or kind of religious understandings, whereas Freemasonry is a civic institution. You could be a Scientologist and a Freemason. I'd have no issue with that, but we're not the same thing. So you need to keep that in mind. I mean, ask away, Jake, but usually when people say they have a serious question, it tends to be not so serious. Thank you, Brother Michael Moore. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the support that you provide, as always. It's truly appreciated. Scientology is a cult. I mean, I'm not one who, I don't want to say anything positive or negative about Scientology because it's something I know so little about. But I don't like to revile anyone's religious beliefs. And if people get from Freemasonry, from Scientology, a sense of community, belonging, support, I think that's awesome. And I'm grateful. Thank you, Brother Michael Moore. I mean, the algorithm goes up and down. I'm in a bit of a cooling off period right now. If you look at my YouTube analytics and metrics, I had a really huge bump up in views and watch time and watch hours. The end of 2025 and early 2026, it cooled off a bit from there, but it's starting to tick back up in the right direction. So I'm grateful for that. See, what do you think the planets... Well, I mean, that's a heck of a question. I mean, I think the planets are the planets. I don't know really what you mean by that. If you're asking what created the universe, that's probably a question for a religious scholar. I'm not one who necessarily believes there needed to be a creation, or at least a creator. But I think most scientists would say right now they don't necessarily know what caused the Big Bang or the creation. And I'm comfortable with the not knowing. Chopra 557, this channel is about Freemasonry. It's about promoting the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. Not the GOAT. Freemasonry is for anyone, regardless of your financial situation. Having said that, if you're looking to join Freemasonry and you're not able to care for yourself or your family financially, you may struggle because Freemasonry does have dues. They're relatively cheap and relatively inexpensive. And one of the reasons that they are relatively inexpensive is because we don't want to become a club exclusively for rich people. But that is something to keep in mind. I mean, I've argued in the past it's worth considering doing credit checks on new members because we don't want to be having somebody join and then they're in a situation where being a Freemason is putting a financial strain on them because either A, they have to miss work to attend meetings, or the dues are just not affordable for them, or whatever it might be. Andre explores it. What did Albert Pike mean by the Luciferian doctrine? So obviously, we can't know for sure because Albert Pike is not around. We can only go by what, other things he said and our understandings of him based on his letters and his discussions. And he is fairly well known, so I think it's fairly uncontroversial, unless you're conspiracy theorists. Ultimately, Albert Pike was a Christian, but he was also, in my opinion, a Luciferian. And what that means is he believed that the snake or the serpent in the Garden of Eden, who, instructed Eve to eat the apple, is not the same entity as the fallen angel Satan, right? The enemy of God, or our enemy. Rather, that Lucifer is a separate entity and is a light bringer, a bringer of knowledge. So anytime any human being is pursuing knowledge, he is ultimately, to some extent, pursuing the light bringer, Lucifer, through that pursuit of knowledge. In the same way, historically, Prometheus, the bringer of fire, would be considered a knowledge entity or a bringer of knowledge to humanity. However, what he also meant, and this is something a lot of people ignore, Albert Pike also said that seeking knowledge for its own sake, if you don't have any type of grounding in a faith or religion, or even to a certain extent in Freemasonry, seeking knowledge without that grounding can ultimately be destructive because it becomes so blinding and the knowledge becomes so great that you become disoriented by it and you become lost by it. So he said, while Freemasons seek knowledge and therefore to some extent are seeking not Satan but Lucifer the light bringer, ultimately that knowledge, to seek it without a solid grounding and a solid foundation in morals and ethics, or in religion, or in Jesus even, because he was a Christian, is self-destructive and destructive to those around you. So it's not seeking knowledge for its own sake, it's seeking knowledge with a grounding. A good equivalent to think about it, Andre, might be, finding the knowledge of how to create an atomic bomb. That's great, but if all you care about is the knowledge of how to do it and you don't have a good moral grounding, that knowledge can become blinding, disorienting, and also ultimately become harmful for people. But if you're, let's say, a Freemason, you can seek knowledge while at the same time having a grounding of ethics, and that grounding of ethics will help you better understand how to use the knowledge. If that made any sense. I mean, the almighty Samuel. I mean, a lot of people are against the idea of credit checks, and I get it. I would just say I think the more information we have, the better. I don't think the information needs to be spread out to the lodge as a whole, but I think either sponsors or the investigation committee could benefit from knowing it. And nothing should be an automatic denial, but I do think if, for example, you do a credit check on an applicant and the credit check comes back and he's having financial troubles, sitting down and talking to him and saying like, look, just so you know, there are dues and fees that come with being a Mason. This is how much it is per year. Also, lodge meetings take place generally in the evenings, but it may impact or interfere with your ability to work, or you may have to go to work because of your credit and then end up being in a negative situation as it relates to your lodge. Like, it's worth having that conversation and discussion. That is true, Bulba. He was not. By the way, I'm going to be at the coffee club tomorrow at 10 a.m. Actually, I'm going to be at the coffee club tomorrow around 9:30 a.m. 9:30 to 10, if you want to be there. Half fiction, I would consider that to be a supreme being, and therefore you could be a Freemason if you wanted. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that, or some version of that, right? We are the universe experiencing itself. I think that's very beautiful. I think it's very poetic. I don't know if I completely agree with it, but I don't know. I don't disagree with it. But if you don't mind my asking, Paul, but what time do you have to go to the hospital? Because maybe I can meet with you before you go to the hospital, depending on the time. Um, oh, okay. Well, then never mind. Although, to go, so that makes me think you're going outside of Windsor. Are you going to London? I will say regarding hospitals, hello Hamza. I would keep in mind, I do know, a lot of people know I am considering being a kidney donor. We don't know yet for sure if it's going to happen. I have to do more testing. I assure you, being a kidney donor um, is not like a simple, easy process. They don't just hit you over the head and take your kidney. There's a lot of testing, and then more testing, and then more testing, and then more meetings that go into it. However, I should know by mid-July if I'll be a kidney donor or not, and I do plan to keep you guys updated on it. I recommend everybody consider being a living kidney donor. If not a living kidney donor, certainly have on your documentation and your ID that you want to be a kidney donor or an organ donor. Your organs are needed down here on earth far more than they're needed up in heaven. And also be a blood donor regularly. White expansion, I can read your messages, but I don't know what they mean. They look vaguely religious, but I'm not sure. Looks like you're talking about Satan. Um, you can. Andres explores it. I mean, certainly if you want to, like, there's a million ways to do it. To me, it's a belt and suspenders thing, right? So what that means is I have on my health card, I don't have a driver's license, I have on my health card um, a note that I want to be an organ donor. I also have it written in my will that I want to be an organ donor. I also let the executors of my estate know that I want to be an organ donor. And I've said it on social media. So there's no question that if anything happens to me, knock on wood, my organs go where they need to go. Um, Now, that also applies to Freemasonry and Masonic ideas as well, right? So, for example, when it comes to my Masonic items and documents and wanting to see them returned to the lodge upon my passing, it's in my summons. Sorry, it's in my will. My executors know, and I've talked to the lodge about it as well. So that's how you do it. Also, I have my insurance know what items I have and where they're meant to go if anything happens to them. The Almighty, greetings Senior Warden of Palestine Lodge, so you're getting close to the east. You're getting up there. Thank you for being here, the Almighty Samuel. I really appreciate it. If you've not done so yet, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. I would be truly appreciative of it. And I hope that you're doing well and having a great day. Are you excited to be potentially moving up one more chair? I don't know when your initiation is, but I hope that if you have it coming up, I hope that you will enjoy it, or installation, I should say. But you should never rely on a single thing when it comes to something as important as organ donation, right? Belt and suspenders, that's what matters. And many Masonic lodges, speaking of donations in general, many Masonic lodges, to their credit, including some of the ones I really love, like Livonia, Morton Grove, hold Texas at Arlington, hold blood donation drives, blood donation clinics, which I think is awesome. I think Freemasonry, very often, we forget, but we were major cheerleaders of and for blood donation, as we should be. In fact, the Cornerstone Project here in Ontario, Masonry, one of the requirements or one of the standards you can reach to get a Cornerstone designation is taking part in at least 3 blood drives. Thank you, the Almighty Samuel. By the way, do you have any other social media platforms? Because I'm across social media. I'm doing my best to grow myself on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Facebook. Nice. You're going to do a great job, the Almighty Samuel, I've no doubt. Enjoy your last 6 months for now, just as an SW. Believe me, being a worship master is an honor, but it's also incredibly tough. So, nothing's wrong with sounding feminine. I can sound feminine, and it's perfectly fine. What I am ultimately, though, is a Freemason. So please hit like and subscribe. And where is your lodge, out of curiosity? Where is Palestine Lodge? Another 13 minutes, we're going to start going into, again, I'm going to review my Twitter X feed because there's some things on it that I wanted to discuss and grow or discuss because I'm trying to grow the channel. There's been a lot of really valuable, I'm a big believer that almost any social media platform that Freemasonry can be on, we should be on for a variety of reasons, including because these things are incredibly beneficial and useful and helpful in our pursuit of becoming relevant to our communities. We need to know what people are saying at a global and national and local level. Social media allows us to know that. All right, well, the Almighty Samuel, let's go through a few of these different streams quickly before we move on. So, hold on just one sec. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's square_and_compass_promotions. That's the main one, and that one is just Freemasonry in general, as well as parts of my life. The second one is Masonic Buildings 1, and the third one is Masonic Building Interiors 1. So those are my Instagram accounts. And then Twitter, it's Cameron16. That's on X/Twitter. And then I'm on Medium as well. at Adamson-Cameron, and then Patreon. I should put these in the descriptions of the videos, to be honest. It's patreon.com/square and compass. So there you go. All right, guys, we're going to be giving it a bit more time. Ever have any morning meetings? Andrew Explores It asks. Sorry, I missed that. So I'm a member of a Daylight Lodge. Andre Explores It, and yes, the meetings for the Daylight Lodge Border Cities start at 11 a.m. Now, unfortunately, we are losing a ton of Daylight Lodges. I think it's really unfortunate that we're losing so many Daylight Lodges for a variety of reasons. I'm hoping that we may, at some point in time, be able to see them come back. I think they're a valuable resource in the craft. And the problem is, once we tend to lose these things, it's very hard, very often, to get them back. So, and that's true for any lodge. Well, I gotta self-promote, because by self-promoting, when I put links on to help the community, I get them out to more people. Welcome. Okay, yeah, we are friends, and thank you. Actually, you support a lot of my stuff on my social media platforms, so I really appreciate it. Looks like you're actually just following me now on Square Compass Promotions as well, so thank you so much for that. I appreciate it very much, and I'm grateful. Thank you for being here. Here we are back on my. So you have a couple different channels. All right. I've got a ton of different channels, which all have a variety of different purposes. I have this one, which the focus again is Freemasonry. I have youtube.com/Cameron Adamson, which is my non-Masonic channel. I tend to talk about scary movies there because that's something I love. Plus just anything I like that I find interesting. I've got a channel dedicated to my travels to Chicago, or Glenview specifically. So I've got a lot of really cool things that I love to do through this channel, and I'm grateful for it, or through YouTube in general. I have a YouTube channel exclusively for the Masonic Temple, because we have a PlayStation 3 there that links to the internet, and so whenever I'm there, or anybody who's there can use it to check out YouTube. We have a dedicated YouTube account just for the temple. So Too Evil to Hope, they are not part responsible for the Mexico-American War. However, it is fair to point out there were Freemasons on both sides of it. Santa Anna and David Crockett were both Freemasons, if I recall correctly. Detroit Masonic Temple, the genuinely the biggest Masonic temple in the world, and an absolutely incredible place, and a place that I'm grateful to have visited dozens and dozens of times and hope to visit dozens more times. It's genuinely an incredible place. No, let's not be killing anybody. How's about that? That does not seem like a good thing to do. Before I oh no, it's not at Detroit Masonic Temple, it's at the Windsor Masonic Temple. I'm not from Detroit, I'm from Windsor, but I get to visit Detroit often, and I'm grateful for that. But no, it's in Windsor. If I recall correctly, you find it's called at Masonic Temple 519 is the PS3 registered to. But the point is, I have a lot of YouTube channels, probably more than I need, to be honest, but they all have a purpose, they all have a goal. No to evil to hope, Freemasonry. I mean, that would be pretty terrible if there was just one Freemason. That would kind of make me very sad, because Freemasonry could not exist. We need way more than just one. No worries. I'll see. I can't remember the name of it now, to be honest. But I'll look in and I'll see if I can find it, and maybe I'll leave a comment on Bandits Playing with My Light. Leave it on my socials at some point, just to check out. Before I start on Bandits Playing with My Chords, before I start on discussing the main topics, I do figure might be kind of fun to just mention one more time. June 12th, June 13th, we have got Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling at St. Clair College. We have got, you need more than one to open the lodge, that's for sure. Some announced events: Stu Grayson versus Jonathan Gresham on June 12th. Johnny TV versus TJP on June 12th. We are going to have Mamma Mia, Luigi Primo, bringing a little extra sauce to Mayhem. The pizza making pro wrestler. We have got the Grizzled Young Vets versus Mascara Dorada and Captain Suicida. We have got Mo Jabari and El Reverso versus The Swirl. Obviously, I'm cheering for Reverso. We have got the First Faction versus the Subculture on June 13th. Anyways, a ton of matches have been announced. We have got Rhino versus Gamma Singh Jr. That's going to be an incredible match. PCO versus Michael Allen Richard Clark. Who wants some push-ups? These matches over the next 2 days are going to be incredible. If you guys are professional wrestling fans, especially if you're Canadian professional wrestling fans, you should be super excited for what's coming up. And it's fun every now and then to share these things. Because obviously there's more to life than just Freemasonry, despite what this channel may tell you otherwise. All right, 3 minutes, then we'll start on the main topics. And thank you, everybody, for following me. Thank you for helping me grow my social media. I really appreciate it. Let's keep up the growth. Let's keep up the good work. But you do need more than one to open a lodge. That is very true. They should be. I've always said I'm a Canadian first, Mr. Jason West. And I think Freemasons should always, like, I'm a Canadian first and a Freemason second. That was my cat once again. So yeah, and I love to see Masons talking positively about where they are, where they grew up, where they live. I think it's incumbent upon us as Freemasons to do that, to care about everything around us, right? To care about where we are, to want to see the best for it. I didn't see the fight, but I mean, yeah, 15 seconds is not good. All the likes, indeed. Thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. All right, we're going to give it one more minute. Then we're going to start talking. Once again, I'm going to be going through my awesome social media accounts because there's some really cool things that I think we need to explore. We need to talk about. All right. Can it be a self-initiated Freemason? No, you cannot. Oh, yeah, the Carano fight with it took me a second with Ronda Rousey. I mean, it didn't shock me. I think most people expected that outcome. Basically, it was, Carano was never really, in my opinion, a grappler or a wrestler. It really was, unless Carano got a shot in right away, got a punch and it landed. I think the odds always really greatly favored Ronda Rousey. And also, Ronda Rousey had been much more active in combat sports, much more recent than Carano, right? Like, Carano's last fight was 2009. I think, if I recall it correctly, Ronda Rousey's last fight was 2017, 16. And also, Rousey had still been active in professional wrestling. Obviously, professional wrestling and MMA are not the same things. They are different. They have different skill sets. But I think it certainly would have helped to keep Ronda Rousey's, breath up. She would have more gas in the tank, be able to go for longer, be in better shape. Also, some of those skills are transferable, or at least you maintain them. So yeah, I think ultimately it did not surprise me what happened. So yeah, well, that would be clandestine. So when you say, what if I identify as a Freemason, you can identify as whatever you want. Nobody can stop you. The closest thing that we could do, when I say we, I mean Freemasons, is in theory charge you with trademark infringement if you are using the square and compasses and if the jurisdiction you're in has them trademarked, which some do, like Ontario does. Although I have never heard of any of that actually going forward, like any trademark infringement suits actually going forward. Now, having said that, I've never been one who gets super shirty about people saying, like, I self-identify as a Freemason. It just would mean, though, you can identify as whatever you want. If you showed up to my Masonic Lodge, you would not be able to attend my Masonic Lodge meeting, right? You would not be able to sit and take part in it, nor should you be. Ultimately, you need to join through a legitimate source. But if you call yourself a Freemason, there's nothing that anybody can do to stop you. But that's why it's really important to remind everybody that just because someone says they're a Freemason, it doesn't automatically mean that it's the case. You need to be asking them questions. You need to have sure information. That can include, and especially, asking for a dues card, which is incredibly important. So, yeah, and not every place has dues cards. Like, they tend not to have them as much in England, I found out. But they do have a central register that if you're a secretary or Mason, you can check to confirm you're active in it. Dylan, so there is a connection, but it's not what people think it is. The Knights Templar existed about 300 to 400 years before the Freemasons, right? The Knights Templars ended 1308. The Freemasons started, let's say, 1634. Thereabout. Now, in 1737, a Freemason by the name of Andrew Raymond, he was a Freemason he was actually from Scotland, if I recall correctly, but he lived in France at the time. He gave an oration, and in that oration, he claimed that it was to a bunch of entered apprentices. He claimed that Freemasonry, or that the Crusaders, which most people tend to think of as he meant the Knights Templars, but that the Crusaders were in fact not simply Crusaders, but also had knowledge of stonemasonry and Masonic knowledge, And even after 1308, those who survived the purge, the order of the King of France, maintained their knowledge and passed it down from generation to generation until it eventually made its way to what we would call speculative or Freemasonry. And from that oration, you had the development of the York Rite and the Knights Templar degree. Ultimately, though, I think it's more of a retcon in that I think Chevalier Raymond, he did not actually, like, there was no literal connection. Rather, he liked the philosophy of the Knights Templar. He liked the symbolism of the Knights Templars. He liked the ideas behind it, the iconography of it, and created that connection as a way to, add chivalry and kindness and those symbols to the craft. So the connection is legendary and apocryphal. I don't think it's literal. Um, I mean, I've never heard of any Knights Templars worshiping Baphomet, either originally or presently. Um, there you go. As the Almighty says, they do not. No, nobody. I've never heard of any Knights Templars of any sort worshiping Baphomet. That's just a conspiracy theory. What can you do? Conspiracy theories are everywhere. You just do your best to ignore them. All right. I said I was going to talk, and I am, but this water is going through me. So, I mean, I don't think so. I can only speak to De Molay, the last Grand Master of the last Grand Master of the Knights Templars, Jacques de Molay. To my knowledge, he was, after the order, he was threatened with being burned at the stake. He was eventually, anyways, to be honest. But he was threatened, and he did confess to some of the charges against him. I don't know off the top of my head what charges he confessed to, but he did not confess to others. None of it mattered. He was eventually put to death, anyways. Um, I mean, normally people join Freemasonry because they knew someone or know someone who's a Freemason, but you don't need to. I always tell you don't need to be invited or anything like that, despite what people think. It's simply if you are interested in joining Freemasonry, find a Masonic lodge in your area that's legitimate, approach them, and express your interest in joining. I don't have any thoughts on Skull and Bones because I don't know anything about them other than uh, they're a fraternity out of like Yale, but I don't know enough about them to say. I mean, I have no issue with fraternities. I think they're very valuable. It's just not Freemasonry. This is my awesome co-host, Mason the Moose. He is going to be watching you guys while I run to the washroom. Then I'll be back. Then I'm going to go through my X account and talk about a few things I think is important to think about. And I'm back. All right, so first, sports is just awesome. I agree. All right, first of all, um, one thing I've been noticing a great deal on my X account, by the way, it's at Cameron80AMSO16, is a ton of weather related alerts, both related to heat warnings as well as very significant storms. For example, I spent a lot of time in Chicago 7 hours ago. NWS Chicago posted a strong storm system will bring a threat for 2+ rounds of severe weather today. Many of my friends from Chicago were posting, amongst other things, severe risk to level 4 of 5 for most of Chicagoland later today. Long-lived, widespread, and intense storms are likely. Many of these storms have resulted in roofs being exposed, significant flooding, trees being downed, the trees hitting buildings across the Chicagoland area. In Mississauga, 905 Hub reported yesterday that it will feel like 37 degrees Celsius today. Stay hydrated, Mississauga. I want to get some of the other posts. Yesterday, we were at a yellow heat warning, which means 2 days or more of heat above 31 degrees Celsius without a significant reduction at night. In Manitoba, after 2 days of extreme heat, they were dealing with major flooding after devastating storms. Many Manitobans right now are dealing with significant flooding in their basements and in their apartments. CTV News reported as of June 10th, world sees second hottest May as Europe faces new normal. That is from the European Union. Trying to find a couple other posts. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago, please stay alert as severe weather conditions are expected to intensify today and into tomorrow. Forecasts include potential for tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, damaging winds, and flash floodings. The CTA is reporting power outages across many lines. Lincoln Park, pool chairs were seen flying due to these significant storms. A couple people have lost their roofs. Detroit is under or at least was yesterday, under a heat alert as well. So is Texas, so is Tennessee, so is Indianapolis and Indiana, Midwest and Great Lakes. So the reason I bring this up, here it is, WCBI weather. Temperatures are staying toasty and roasty this week. Make sure that you are staying careful with this heat. Reminder for safety: drink water and take breaks. Don't overexert yourself. Stay in air conditioning. Check on pets and neighbors. We within Freemasonry in Omaha, heat index values will likely be over 100 in some areas today, especially in urban areas. A heat advisory is in effect until 9 p.m. Important to stay hydrated and take breaks. We within Freemasonry have many brethren who may be affected by these heat warnings, as well as by significant weather. Not just heat warnings, but storms, floods, whatever it might be. It could be that they are older and therefore just at greater risk of health problems in general. They could be on medications. They could not have air conditioning. They could be working outside in this heat. I think it's incumbent upon us as Freemasons to think about brethren who may be dealing with heat-related issues and check on them. So if you know a brother who doesn't have air conditioning, for example, invite him to come hang out at your place if you have air conditioning, or just call to check on him and see how he's doing. Monitor him regularly. I've heard of older people who are suffering from dementia or just forgetfulness, forgetting how to work their air conditioner, forgetting to drink lots of water until it's too late. So call your brethren and check on them. If there is an issue of, severe flooding in your area, same thing. Check on your Masonic brethren. See if any of them have issues with flooding. Do you need to provide benevolence or assistance for them? Or do they need to find a new place to stay while the flooding is dealt with? And if so, can you offer them a place to stay? Or do you know somebody who can? Make sure that, especially when it comes to, first of all, extreme heat, do our Masonic buildings have air conditioning? If they don't, um, or if they have air conditioning in some parts of the building but not others, do you need to cancel your Masonic meeting if it's simply too hot? We've done that in the past, canceled Masonic meetings if it was just too hot, because the lodge rooms themselves are not air conditioned, while the upstairs areas and public areas are. Or are you going to maybe be a little bit more lax on the dress code and allow people to take off their suit jackets? Um, Allow people to have water in the lodge room with them, or have water on site just in case any brother needs it. And do you have first aid to know and recognize the signs of heat stroke in yourself or in others, and to take appropriate steps? Does your lodge have proper insurance to deal with flooding, to deal with these massive storms that are ripping the roofs off of certain buildings? Um, these things matter. Are we, checking the weather regularly? I think it might be incumbent upon Masons, certainly secretaries, to, before a lodge is meeting, check the weather, check Twitter, check Facebook, check your weather services. Are we expecting a pretty significant storm? Are we under a heat warning? Are we under a blizzard warning? And if so, taking steps to make sure you're safe. That could mean anything from canceling a meeting, bringing extra water to the meeting with you, or setting up a phone tree. So if you're dealing with a significant storm, either, rain or whatever else it might be, rain or snow or sleet or hail or icy conditions, have the brethren a centralized location where they can call to advise they've made it home safely, or check in through a social media app. I think all that stuff is really, really important, and we don't do it enough. Um, there you go, Almighty Samuel. Absolutely. I did want to also mention, because I am always going to be a cheerleader, a celebrator, a promoter of transit. Public transit is what allows me to travel. It's what allows me to do the things I do. If it wasn't for travel, it wasn't for public transit, I would not be able to visit all the different places I visit and see all the different things that I see and take part in all the different things I take part in. I'm truly lucky and truly blessed that so many cities around the world have public transit. One of my favorite transit systems is the Chicago Transit Authority and Chicago Transit. I'm grateful for it. There was a post yesterday from Nick Bloomberg at ND Bloomberg. CTA bus ridership has hit 90% of pre-COVID levels, the agency's president said. I think that's awesome to see. We should support public transit. And I think we as Masons should support public transit. Again, without public transit, I cannot attend the Masonic meetings I attend. I could not have the Masonic experiences I have. The one thing I hope, though, is, as much as possible, if you are part of Freemasonry, if your Masonic building does not have a public transit stop located close to it or within walking distance, advocate for one. I think it's worth it. It makes it more likely that people can attend and take part in your Masonic events. Yes, Balba, they both have incredible architecture. You're absolutely correct. I mean, the Almighty Samuel, I love the Q line. I've taken the Q line dozens of times because it drops it has a line that gets you relatively close to the Detroit Masonic Temple, and it's a great system. But I agree, I wish more people were taking it. I wish it was a little bit more popular. But I mean, I've taken it a lot, and I'm grateful for it. I'm also grateful for all of the staff that make public transit possible, whether it be the bus drivers, but also the maintenance staff and the maintenance crew and the people who work at the terminals. They are all absolutely vital and absolutely necessary for the public transit to operate and to allow me to get around and travel. Um, Government of Canada Newsroom, GC Newsroom, Twitter handle or X handle at Newsroom GC. They also have a French handle as well. Recently posted, FedDev Ontario is now accepting applications under the Build Community Strong Fund local impact stream in Southern Ontario. Now, my lodge is in Southern Ontario, but more in general, um, the FedDev Ontario, um, right, I'm going to read this here. Building a strong Canada starts with strong communities and regional economies. Freemasonry helps strong communities and helps ensure we have strong communities and helps ensure we have strong regional economies as well. That's why the Government of Canada launched the Build Community Strong Fund to support the infrastructure Canadians rely on to help build strong, vibrant, and connected communities across the country. Freemasonry is part of that infrastructure. As part of this national initiative, Canada's regional development agencies are delivering $1 billion over 4 years through the Build Canada Strong Fund local impact stream to support community infrastructure projects to strengthen communities and advance regional economic development. Today, the Honorable Evan Solomon, Minister of AI and Digital Innovation, announced the Build Community Strong Fund local impact stream is now open in Southern Ontario. This would also include Chatham, London, Sarnia. Through this stream, FedDev Ontario will invest $330 million over 4 years in local infrastructure that residents and families across Southern Ontario use, from community buildings and recreational facilities to parks and trails and cultural spaces, to enhance community vitality across the region. Masonic buildings are community buildings, they are cultural spaces, and they enhance vitality across our region. Eligible not-for-profit organizations, which would include Freemasons, municipalities, Indigenous organizations, and public sector bodies across Southern Ontario can now apply for funding to support community infrastructure projects that deliver economic, social, or environmental benefits for communities and for the broader region. If you are in Ontario, look up FedDev Ontario and the Build Community Strong Fund. You can search for it through Housing Infrastructure Canada BCSF. You can find the information in both French and English and find the funding streams. If you are in Ontario and Southern Ontario, specifically London, Chatham, Sarnia, Windsor, you should look into it for sure, Essex. But even outside of that, check it out. I don't know when your stream is, but there is zero question that Canadian Freemasonry, Ontario Freemasonry, helps to build strong communities, helps to build vibrant communities, helps to build economically strong communities. Masonic buildings and Freemasonry is part of the both physical and social infrastructure that makes our communities great. And I think any Masonic lodge should consider applying for funding to hold events, celebrations through the Build Community Strong Fund. And please do so. So again, I posted that on my social media. Please check it out. But you can find it. It was posted 3 hours ago at newsroom.gc. Sorry, at newsroomgc. I am also wanted to mention, if I could find it, thank you for the gold coin once again. I'm grateful. Let's see if I can track it down. The CN Tower today is lit orange and yellow for International Day of Play. I think, I've said this quote before, we don't get older we don't stop playing because we get old because we stop playing. Play comes in a variety of different forms, but I think we within Freemasonry can encourage play amongst our membership. One example, on August 29th, and Michael Moore, if you're still there, you are welcome to attend. We have got a softball game organized. It's a fun softball game amongst the different lodges. It's going to be a barbecue as well. It's a chance to play. It's a chance to have fun. It's a chance to enjoy one another's company. I think play is incredibly important, an incredibly important thing that we can and should be doing. So if you get the chance, first of all, come join us. It's August 29th at Micmac Park. You don't need to be a Mason to attend. But second, enjoy being there. Enjoy playing. If your lodge can hold a special event like that, you should. It doesn't have to be sports. It can be a game night. It can be a karaoke. It can be a variety of different things. But playing, having fun, it has to be part of the Masonic experience. It cannot be this type of thing that we ignore or pretend is not important, because it is. Fun needs to be part of it. It doesn't have to be just fun. There are times when we got to do some work. There are times when we got to put some effort in, and that's really important as well. But that should never forget the chance that we work hard so we can have fun and play hard. Work hard, play hard is a real thing. And it should matter within Freemasonry. It should matter within life. So let me know what you guys do within Freemasonry to play. Maybe you want to put on a special event. Maybe you want to put on a celebration of some sort, a basketball game, a softball game, whatever it might be. I hope you guys will consider doing so. So today is International Day of Play. Play, have fun, enjoy yourselves. Maybe it's video games. Who knows what it is? Nice. Well, in that case, do that, because it sounds incredible. And picnics are always really fun as well. So I hope that you enjoy that. Work hard, play harder. That's always good advice. I would support that as well. I did not take any blood freezing oaths. I don't even know what that means. As far as I know, none of my blood has ever been frozen, except for the blood that I donate through Canadian Blood Services. Today is also Thoughtful Thursday. The Anishinaabe Nation on X, Anish Nation, posted Thoughtful Thursday. There is no such thing as failure, only feedback. A good question to ask might be, what is one thing within Freemasonry you find yourself thoughtful about, or about which you are thoughtful, about which you consider? Prime Minister of Canada, 23 hours ago, so at Canadian PM, posted, the Government of Canada is investing in healthcare infrastructure across the country to improve the systems that support our healthcare workers so they continue providing the care our communities need. I want to bring this up because Freemasonry is absolutely part of health infrastructure, at least in a social sense. All the evidence shows that having supportive communities, friends, family, having social connections ultimately equates with better health for everybody. When you think about preventative health, Freemasonry is part of that if you're a Freemason. There was a Surgeon General's report from the States in 2023 that talked about the necessity of social connection. So all of this stuff matters a lot. People always ask, like, why is Freemasonry important? Why does it matter? Well, if you're a Freemason, you're probably very healthy, or healthier than if you were not, relatively speaking, which means you are putting less strain on the healthcare system, which means other people who need it have an easier time accessing that system, have less of a doctor's wait, less of all that stuff. So even if you're not a Freemason, you are benefiting from having Freemasonry in your community, because anything that encourages health and well-being in your community is going to result in a better experience for you. Thoughtful about as a Mason, the brothers who I've known and loved who are no longer here. They were part of my becoming a Mason and have subsequently passed. As much as it has pleased God to call them from this life, I still miss them being around. The Almighty Samuel, that is a very good thing indeed um, to be thoughtful about. So thank you for sharing that. CTV News on June 10th at CTV News posted, remote work offers flexibility and other benefits. It can also hurt your mental health. This goes back to this idea of what I was talking about before of social and socialization mattering. You need to be around other people. It matters. And if, especially as remote work is offering more and more ability to work in isolation, that means you need to find opportunities in other places to get the social connections that you need to be healthy. That can include Freemasonry. 82 Flows on X, at 82 Flows, 16 hours ago, reported the power out and it is hot as hell. Never seen this wide of a power outage here in Chicago before. So what's interesting actually is if we are in the midst of a heat warning and on top of that we end up with, let's say, a prolonged power outage, whatever it might be, that ends up being called, and so we get the term right because I don't want to mess it up. A heat emergency. So that is when you have extenuating circumstances like large-scale power outage or lack of drinking water during a heat event. So I talked before about the importance of checking in on brethren during heat warnings, heat emergencies. It's doubly so and true for people who are, dealing with, on top of everything else, you have some type of power outage or lack of water. I mean, if you're in a situation where, for whatever reason, the water supply is down, maybe you need to try to visit some Masonic brethren and deliver water bottles to them, right? Something to that extent. Waylon Parton, thank you for being here. Today's the big day, right? If I'm not mistaken. Trump neither was a Freemason nor is a Freemason. And no one's going to annihilate anybody. I'm no fan of Donald Trump, but we don't want to be annihilated. You must be very excited, and I'm wishing you nothing but the best. Once again, say hi to all the guys in Hesperia. Awesome lodge, awesome people, awesome building. I also hope you were okay. I just finished talking about a bunch of special weather alerts, including special weather alerts from Chicago. I know you guys had a very bad heat wave and a very massive storm. I hope everybody's okay, including your buildings. Yes, elderly Masons are in danger of heat strokes. Now, in fairness, everybody is in danger of heat strokes if you're not careful. But elderly people are one group that can be especially in danger. So check on them, see how they're doing. That stuff is really important. I heard about that. I hope, no trees are down in your area, or if they are, nothing got damaged. Downed trees can damage houses, damage cars, damage Masonic buildings. So I hope everybody's okay. Epics, I don't mind. To be perfectly honest, I do not mind at all because, you get, it just is what it is. Like, we borrowed / stole a lot of symbolism from a lot of different organizations, groups, religions, mythologies, philosophies, trade unions. So why shouldn't they steal from us as well, It's one of those things where it's kind of like, what are you going to do? But Waylon, I'm wishing you nothing but the best. And you're going to have a great time. And Hesperia is an awesome, awesome lodge. Genuinely a great place. So say hi to everybody for me. What else did I want to mention? Again, going through my X because I'm trying to grow it, and there's a lot of cool things to check out. Dun, dun, dun. So I talked about this yesterday. Ottawa is moving to ban social media use for kids under 16. This was posted yesterday by CTV News, again at CTV News. So it's not a full ban. What it does is it bans kids under 16 from having a social media account unless the platform which would host the account can demonstrate that it has taken steps to protect children. So basically, it creates a presumption that the social media platform has to overcome, which is, I think, the best approach to take. And I support this myself. The legislation has been introduced but not passed. It does bring up some issues for Freemasonry, specifically around our youth Masonic groups, Demolay and Rainbow, and how can they be active on social media in Canada while complying with these rules and regulations. It is Bill C-34. It was announced and introduced on June 10th. It needs to go through the governmental process. As Culture Minister Mark Miller said, the measures in the bill represent, in my view, the basic expectation that parents and Canadians have for keeping their kids safe online. I believe all parties should agree on the importance of these minimum safeguards. He made the comments at a press conference in Ottawa alongside a Toronto pediatrician and representative for the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, child advocates, and medical professionals who all praised the bill. Wednesday evening, large tech companies are assessing the legislation. There's no the bill doesn't prescribe a method to verify age at this point, but I guess they are looking at figuring out what the age verification will be. They are not banning the use of chatbots, including chatbots that could discuss Freemasonry. However, again, it's about making these as safe as possible. Background materials provided, which I'd like to check out, by the government said the bill would cover traditional social media services like Facebook and X, and will apply to public-facing conversational chatbots that can mimic human-like relationships. So again, as someone who makes my living on social media, or is trying to, I have to think about my audience and what is safe for them. That doesn't just include my adult audience, but any young people who may be watching. I'm always reminding kids under 18 to have their parents' permission to be on stream. But also, what does it mean when I'm producing content? Am I making sure I'm producing content that is geared towards adults, first and foremost? Are there times when it's appropriate to have children facing or youth facing content? I would think, especially when talking about, for example, Demolay or Rainbow, it's valuable. So there you go. That was posted. I am talking about that. I am asking people what they think of that as well, and if they support it or don't. So Dylan, there is no legitimate link between the Freemasons and the Illuminati in 2026. The Illuminati was started in 1776 by a gentleman named Adam Weishaupt. He was a former Freemason who left Freemasonry because, amongst other reasons, he did not believe in or was not a fan of the Freemasons. He thought that they were A, too expensive, and B, not esoteric enough. So he wanted to start his own group called the Illuminati. Ultimately, it died out after, in the last 100 years, it hasn't really existed in any meaningful way, at least as of right now. So, the idea that there's a current connection is simply not true. as Modern Warfare said, it really isn't uh, existing anymore. Now, again, what does it mean for the Illuminati to exist? If I go online and tell people I am the Illuminati and I get 50 people to join a group I create online called the Online Illuminati of Cameron, is that, does that mean the Illuminati now exist? Right? Obviously, I would say no. But people might say, well, sure, there's a group that call themselves the Illuminati, therefore the Illuminati exists. But it doesn't exist in the same way that people mean a relevant force in our communities. Um, Take Astabast, I have no idea, but my suspicion is there's probably a scientific explanation for it. Um, the Illuminati never dies. You sound like Cobra Kai. Um, a couple other things I posted on my social media accounts. As of yesterday, it was noted that inflation has reached 4.2%, the highest it's been in, I don't know, I forget now. Let me double check if I can find it. I think at least 3 years. Um, Look, you cannot separate these conditions, economic from Masonic conditions. When you have, uh, when you have 4.2% inflation, people need to start thinking about, am I going to go to the Masonic Lodge for a meeting, or am I going to go to work and do some overtime? Am I willing to drive to the Masonic Lodge meeting, or am I going to stay home and save the money on gas? Can the Masonic Lodge afford special events and celebrations? How much is it going to cost for food at these events? I mean, all of these things sound not connected, but they are. And as we reach 4.2% inflation, that is going to start to affect our Masonic lodges. And so I think we need to keep these things in mind. Interest rates being held steady at 2.25% by the Bank of Canada, as posted by CP24. I mean, all of this stuff matters. And as we are struggling within Freemasonry in many places to keep our Masonic lodges afloat, we are losing many of them. Part of it is, look, there are things outside of our control, and we need to be willing to take it easy on ourselves. We can't control inflation, and we can't control the fact that some brethren are going to need to put their work and employment ahead of Freemasonry, or simply not have the money to attend lodge meetings for fuel costs, right? Because of that, I think we need to, if nothing else, pay attention to these things and figure out how we can best modify and work within these circumstances. Dextro, I used to know what it is. I mean, Rapid Dog, I'm a big believer that Freemasons should be applying for government grants to make our buildings more accessible, more affordable, more energy efficient. I've written about that quite a bit on my Medium channels, and I hope that you guys will follow me there. We don't have gold I mean, some lodges may have gold deposits. I don't know any that do, but maybe some Masonic lodges may. But even in that case, all you're doing in that case is accessing your savings, which is not the healthiest approach to take either. So money has Masonic symbols on it, but it's not because Masons designed the money. It's because those symbols were very popular in the communities throughout the 17th and 18th centuries. So, it's kind of the same way, like the pyramids were popular in a variety of different settings. So they made their way into a variety of different symbols, not just Freemasonry, right? It's parallel, it's what's the term? It's parallel thinking. It's not one influencing the other. I always remember DNA because the Pokemon, I don't know what that is, but okay. By the way, thank you again, everybody, for being here. If you're new to the stream, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Follow me on social media accounts. I would be much obliged. Also, CTV News, reported on June 10th, Trump says he's not looking to renew North American free trade deal. Some may support that, some may not. To the extent to which you support free trade is a political question, but the Masonic side of it is to what extent, to what level will that result in a lack of funding, a lack of money, a lack of resources, increased costs for Freemasons? And again, the same question. You know, those economic conditions affect Freemasonry. I always do, Rapid Dog, and thank you for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. So those are all from my social media accounts, and they're all things I want to talk about. I hope that you will consider following me on social media, especially X right now. I'm trying to grow it. And just think about, you know, the extent to which, and remember the extent to which these things matter. And I think we as Freemasons need to be using social media more. We need to be on social media. We need to be checking social media regularly, partially to see what people are saying about us within Freemasonry, partially to see what's happening in the broader community that will affect Freemasonry. You know, weather alerts, weather statements, heat warnings, public transit information, economic news. And don't be afraid to bring these things up in our lodges. That matters a lot as well. And I think we in Freemasonry need to have a better relationship with social media. Thank you, Almighty Samuel. Yes, as Brother Michael says, Freemasonry almost always has a, whatever the relationship is to the public, that's what you see within Freemasonry. So for example, if you're in a community and 10% of the population in that community is Muslim, 10% of the lodge will likely be Muslim. And if you're in a community which is, let's say, a rich area of people that are more likely going to be, let's say, Masonic, rich, famous, of the upper crust are the type of people who would attend Davos, then it's possible some Masons will be attending Davos, but I've never met any who are of that level and of that nature, of that type of occupation, that they're going to be attending Davos, that's for sure. But anything's possible. Yes, Napoleon's wife and brother-in-laws were Freemasons. There's some indication, like Napoleon had a really fascinating view of Freemasonry. Like, there were times when he talked about it in the most negative way and said it was terrible, and there were times when he spoke about it in a very positive way. So nobody seems to know exactly like what it is that he truly thought of it. But it seems like, as a general rule, he was supportive of it. Or at least, over time, became more supportive of it. As Brother Michael Moore says, that's the key. It depends where you are. I'm a big believer that we should be more respectful of the Order of Women Freemasons in North America. I also think England should be more respectful of Eastern Star. But I have no problem considering women Freemasons to be Freemasons. Now, they're not regular, which means they would not be able to attend, for example, one of my Masonic meetings. But that doesn't mean that they are not in and of themselves. I would call them brethren, put it that way. And I'm grateful for all they've contributed to Freemasonry. In the same way, I feel that way about Eastern Star. So, honestly, when you say prison, Mason population. I worked in a jail for 5 years. I never met any Freemasons who were in jail. It wouldn't shock me if it happens, though. Freemasons are human beings, and my suspicion is if let's say 2% of your population in a country are, serving a jail sentence, then 2% of the Masons in that country will be part of it as well. Right? We're not special. But I do think Freemasonry should, if the ethics of Freemasonry are being followed, um, keep people from committing acts that will get them in jail more often than not. Because we as Freemasons are taught to believe in the be civic minded and civic engages, be civically minded and be engaged with civic duties and responsibilities, and to ultimately be a good citizen. That's one of the things I love most about Freemasonry. I heard about that, Brother Michael Moore. I haven't looked. I saw the clips of the video. I saw the advertisements for it, but I haven't actually watched it yet. You would not really be able to be made a Freemason in prison. The one exception would be Freemasons that were made Freemasons in concentration camps during World War II, which is a type of prison, but it's a type of prison for people who did nothing wrong, obviously. So, Ryan, there is a set schedule for meetings. I'm attending meetings almost every night of the week, very often, but my Mother Lodge meets the first and third Fridays of the month. Um, but it depends how often the lodge sets the meetings. We go dark over the summer, so we don't meet in July and August. So at a minimum, there's usually about 10 meetings per month. One meeting September through December, and then one meeting one meeting every month, September through December, and one meeting every month, January through June. And that's one of the questions that when you're joining Freemasonry, you should ask, right? You should ask the lodge, when do you meet? And will it interfere with my ability to, attend work? Maybe if you work Mondays through Fridays, but there happens to be a lodge that meets on the weekend, is it worth exploring? Is it worth going to that weekend lodge instead? I mean, so there's two types of honorary Masons. There can be, so you're already a Freemason, but you visit another lodge regularly, and that lodge, likes your company, enjoys your company. They may make you an honorary member. But in that case, you're already a Freemason and you're an honorary member of another lodge. Or there's this idea of being made a Mason on site, like Shaquille O'Neal. Or, Ronald Reagan was made an honorary Mason. That's sometimes treated dubiously, or Joe Biden for that matter. Not everybody views being made a Mason on site as being a legitimate Mason. Although Shaquille O'Neal, to my knowledge, has been very active in his lodge. So it just depends on how you define it. Livonia United, excellent lodge. One of the, again, an excellent lodge. A jewel in Michigan Freemasonry. I will say on a side note, there's some interesting things happening with this Iran-American conflict. So as of 1 hour and 5 minutes ago, this is per CNN, President Donald Trump said he was canceling strikes against Iran Thursday night that he previewed hours earlier because final points of an agreement between the two sides had been approved based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved. I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening, Trump wrote on Truth Social. He said discussions and final points have been in both concept and great detail approved by all parties involved. He listed United States, where there is Masonic lodges, Israel, where there is Masonic lodges, Saudi Arabia, UAE, where there is a Masonic lodge on a military base, Qatar, where there is a Masonic lodge on a military base, Turkey, where Freemasonry exists, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, military base Freemasonry, Jordan, where there are Masonic lodges, and Egypt as nations involved in the approvals. The reason I bring up which of those areas have Masonic lodges is because I want to remind people there is very active Freemasonry in the Middle East, and we don't want to forget about that and forget about our Masonic brethren who may be in harm's way. There's also the Grand Lodge of Iran in Exile, which presently meets in Los Angeles, if I recall correctly. But there's absolutely a great deal of Masonic history in Iran. Many Masons may be living in Iran or may have family in Iran, and we're thinking about all of them as well. Now, we don't know for sure if, there actually will be a deal reached. Per CNN 6 minutes ago, Iran's Revolutionary Guards cast doubt on Trump's comments on status of agreement. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard have cast doubt on U.S. President Donald Trump's latest remarks. That final point of an agreement with Tehran have been approved, saying Iranian officials have not confirmed any such deal. I just want people to remember that there is significant amounts of Freemasonry in the Middle East, significant numbers of Freemasons in the Middle East, and I'm absolutely thinking of all of them right now and hoping they're all safe, as well as just anybody. So, Ray Riddle, thank you for being here, and I hope that you're doing well. To everybody just joining us, please hit like and subscribe. So, in terms of my upcoming schedule, today I'm going to be ending this stream soon, but I will be back on at 1 a.m. Tomorrow, I'm going to be part of the wrestling. I cannot wait to see Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling make its way to St. Clair, the return of professional wrestling on TSN in Canada. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to be there. Please, if you can, support it, follow on social media. I'm going to be doing some exercising today because obviously we got the show tomorrow. I want to make sure I'm ready for it. It's going to be incredible. I'll post some social media stuff. But because I'm going to be at the show, I'm going to have a much shorter stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, but I will still do a live stream from St. Clair College. So that's going to be incredible. Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to try to post some stuff and share social media as well. I go to bed usually around 2 to 3 a.m., usually wake up around 10 a.m. They don't tolerate it, but that's not to say there's not Masonic lodges in the Middle East. For example, there may be Freemasons who are soldiers, or peacekeepers or aid workers there, or, Afghan residents and citizens who maybe left Afghanistan, joined Freemasonry, and then returned, which has happened at various points throughout history. The point is, we don't want to forget that Freemasonry is active throughout the world, including in the Middle East. It also exists in Lebanon, chartered under the Grand Lodge of Scotland, if I recall correctly. So it's one of those things where it's just important to keep in mind. Luke, welcome. Please hit like and subscribe. Actually, when I was traveling through, if you're already subscribed, thank you. I was traveling through Doha in Qatar. I actually sent a message to the lodge that meets in the military base there, asking if I could perhaps visit them while I was in town on my very long layover. Obviously, they said they did not respond to me. I don't blame them. I know how busy they must be at the moment. I didn't expect a response, but I figured nothing ventured, nothing gained. Some Japanese soldiers could have been. Yeah, Freemasonry existed in Japan at the time. Just like in the Civil War, there were Freemasons on both sides of the conflict. I know, Germany actually outlawed Freemasonry during World War II and before. But that's not to say there weren't still Masons there. We have made it to 4,120 subs. Thank you so much for that. I'm truly grateful. It's incredible to see the growth. I'm on my way to 5,000. Um, so thank you for that. Hopefully, I can get to 5,000 maybe in the next couple months. I do not know what that would mean. I mean, if he's a stonemason and it's his job to create stone structures, or in this case, to create a hole in a stone structure, I guess you just ask him and ask him how much it would cost. I mean, ultimately, during a pitched battle, you're not going to necessarily know who is or isn't a Freemason. So you're going to just try to kill the enemy. It's a war. But after the fact, certainly, um, certainly in such cases, there's been stories about Masons, helping Masons who've been taken prisoner, um, helping them in the battlefield. There's a famous Gettysburg Monument to Freemasonry. So yeah. One thing I want to talk about, and I have posted this as well, and this came up on social media. I'm a speculative Mason. I don't do work. I don't do stonework. I'm part of the club. Mista, please hit like and subscribe if you're not done so already. The Bear, which is one of my favorite shows of the last 5 years, announced on Twitter that its final season is set for June 25th. I posted the trailer on YouTube. It looks incredible. Genuinely looks like an incredible, incredible final season. I think the entire series looks incredible, or it has been incredible. It's on Disney Plus, FX. I, one of the major influences on the series, The Bear, is Unreasonable Hospitality, which is a book that is written by a gentleman who actually appeared on The Bear. I can't think of his name now. But I read the book and I read several interviews with him, and I posted on Medium ways that Freemasonry can take inspiration from both The Bear and Unreasonable Hospitality when crafting the Masonic experience. And I'll probably talk about that on June 25th when The Bear is released. I'm in a speculative Masonic organization. I mean, if you want to say like Harry Potter, sure, it's a fraternity. It's a club. It's a group. I have never viewed myself as an elite. Slick Rick, I mean, one thing I'd say is a very rude thing to do is to tell people how they view themselves, right? I will tell you how I view myself, and that is as no better or worse than anybody else, but as someone who is at least trying to make the world a better place. Scientology occupies a different space. Scientology occupies a religious space. Freemasonry does not. It occupies the civic space. I've never heard of any Freemasons say they're trying to illuminate anybody. Well, I don't think that's safe, Rusty Nails, so I would not do that. That seems to me to be a very dangerous thing to do, to be honest. Yeah, that's all I am. I'm just a fellow human. We're all on this path together, right? Freemasonry, I mean, define enlightenment. Freemasonry evolved a great deal from the Enlightenment era philosophy of like Voltaire. But I mean, ultimately, I think Freemasonry is simply one way of many to do something you enjoy and learn about how to be a better neighbor, friend, brother. But it's not the exclusive way by any means. Um, I don't know what that means. I don't think there'll ever be a cessation of suffering. I think if you're alive, you're going to suffer. That's human nature. Obama, Summer, and some random guy speaks. Obama is not a Freemason, not 33rd, not any degree. I mean, I would welcome him to join if he wanted, but he is not a Freemason. We did not invent pollution, but I'm doing my best to try to reduce pollution through Freemasonry or through Masons. For example, encouraging our buildings to be more energy efficient. Pretty much, Mr. Julia. That's not a terrible way to describe it at all. I would say that's a pretty decent way to describe it. I mean, define superior. I wouldn't use those terms, but I think it's better to be civic minded than not. I think it makes you a better citizen. Um, Freemasonry is the reason people sneeze. That's very funny. I like that. I'm going to start saying that to people. I'm going to quote that. Like, how does one sign up? So, if you want to and Donald Trump is not a Freemason, if you want to be a Freemason, it's actually relatively simple to start the process. You need to find a Masonic lodge in your area, approach them, and express your interest in joining. And that's how you start. Now, there's a process after that. You need to get to know the lodge. The lodge needs to get to know you. It takes time. But the initial process is find a lodge in your area and express them. There is no central figure. Freemasonry is a decentralized organization where, for example, the jurisdiction I'm in, Ontario, is responsible for Freemasonry in Ontario. Nothing beyond, right? My dad is a member of a lodge in Manitoba. He's responsible for Freemasonry in Manitoba. No one owns Freemasonry and no one funds it. It's self-funded primarily through dues. So every year I pay a series of dues to my Masonic lodge, and through those dues it funds, the payment of the building where it meets and dinners and special events. Um, I know very little about the Rotary Club other than it's a civic organization and it's great. I'm a supporter of all types of civic organizations. A woman, Rusty Nails, none of that nonsense. Don't be, I mean, what do you lose if you stop listening to your favorite song? Right? Why must you gain anything other than the fact that you enjoy it? And is that not good enough? But you certainly do get friends that you would not meet with otherwise. You get a social safety net. I know if I'm ever struggling in some way, I can turn to my Masonic Lodge, ask for assistance, financial or otherwise. Um, I get to be around people I enjoy their company, and I get an opportunity to pool my resources with others and try to make the world a better place, which is nothing to sneeze at, since we do make people sneeze, in fairness. Um, we're not everywhere and we're not in secret. Here I am talking about it right now. I mean, so Freemasonry is not the Illuminati. The Illuminati is a separate organization that hasn't really existed in any meaningful way for probably close to 100 years, give or take. It was started by an ex-Mason in 1776. We do not meet up at 3 a.m. near bonfires. We do not meet up at 3 a.m. at all. That's too early. We're sleeping at 3 a.m. or we're streaming like I am. Of course, that's what a Mason would say. Hence the problem with conspiracy theories. They are designed to be self-fulfilling or undeniable, which is an unfair thing, right? Because if you say, I think you're a criminal, the person responds, well, I'm not. It's like, of course you're going to say that, right? That's why conspiracy theories are designed in such a way that they're almost unfalsifiable. Um, the KKK was not started by a Freemason. I mean, well, so Nathaniel Bedford Forrest was a Freemason, and I think he was active in the KKK. Maybe he was the founder of it, in which case it shows somebody did not understand the tenets of Freemasonry. But that's possible. You can be a Freemason and not understand the true teachings of it or what it truly means. In the same way, many Christians supported slavery, which tells me they did not truly understand the teachings of the Bible. Albert Pike did not start the KKK. I don't even think Albert Pike was a member of the KKK, to be honest. He definitely had racist tendencies, although later in his life he actually grew to be supportive of Prince Hall, which makes me wonder if maybe some of those Masonic institutions and ideals actually encouraged him to reconsider his view of things. I mean, Freemasons are part of many religions, but we're not infiltrating them. Freemasons use a disproportionate amount of the sun's solar energy. I'm going to say that as well. I'm going to tell people that also. ID White House, happy Pride to you as well. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it and would be grateful. We are growing on this channel. We're up to 4,110 subscribers. So hopefully, very soon, we'll get to 5,000. That's the goal. Well, it needs recurrent fees to self-fund, to exist, because things cost money, whether it be dinners or buildings to meet in or anything else. It doesn't ensure the members do good, because nothing can ensure members do good, but it provides an ethical framework through which people can do good if they want to. You can, be a bad person and somehow sneak your way in and join Freemasonry by pretending to be good, and sometimes that happens. But I think if we are doing our job as Freemasons, we are going to more likely do good. So there you go. Yeah, ethical lessons. There are teachings in Freemasonry. Now, you can get those teachings not just in Freemasonry, right? Like, it's teaching through doing. Hello, Rondo. Thank you for being here. For example, if you become a football player and you become really active as a football player, you are going to incorporate certain ethical lessons and teachings in your life. The value of teamwork, the value of practice, the value of physical fitness, the value of respect for coaching, being coachable. And you will take those and apply them to your day-to-day lives, right? Freemasonry is the same way. You will learn the value of tolerance, kindness, respect, charity, memorization. And you'll take those skills and you'll take those teachings and apply them to your day-to-day life. In the same way it does with if you join a football team. If you dedicate yourself to football, you will naturally inculcate value around things like, the value of teamwork and dedication. And it's up to you the extent to which you apply those things to your day to day life. You may be a football player and never really learn the value of teamwork to a full extent because you're really good at football, but you don't take those lessons and bring them to your life outside of football. We've all known football players and sports stars who are great on the field, but don't apply those lessons outside of it. But I think you can, if you do things right, deal with both. So there you go. That is my humble opinion on that one, right? But ultimately, nothing will stop you but you, right? Like, it's like being a member of a gym will not automatically make you healthy. Being a member of a gym who shows up to the gym regularly, that's what makes you healthy. So, how many countries? I mean, so there's a Freemason, at least one in every country in the world, I'm sure, because Freemasons work as a variety of different professions, but they work as aid workers, they work as press, they work as doctors, they work as lawyers, they're soldiers, and because of that, they're going to be everywhere, even in a country where Freemasonry is not allowed. So, for example, Freemasonry is outlawed in Qatar. However, there are military bases in which Freemasonry exists. Um, so the military base in Qatar, the U.S. military base, there is a Masonic lodge on that base. Same thing with United Arab Emirates. It's outlawed in mainland China, yet there are some underground lodges. There's also Freemasonry in Hong Kong and Macau. But if you're asking where Freemasonry exists as an organized structure, as an organized, recognized civic institution, it exists throughout the world. It is currently banned in Afghanistan, Iran, like I said, Qatar and Dubai, though it exists on military bases there. So many places around the world. And one of the greatest things about Freemasonry is the fact that you're able to travel around the world and visit these lodges throughout the world. And I'm grateful for my visits to Masonic lodges in South Africa, in North America, South America, the Philippines. It's truly special. On the military bases, Rondo? No, they're Prince Hall to my knowledge, but they're recognized by other Prince Hall lodges, so Prince Hall is not clandestine. And then again, that is the question as well, like if you are clandestine lodge, does that mean you're Masonic or not? That gets into all sorts of questions around recognition and regularity, and that stuff gets complicated. So. Oh, in China, I mean, the underground ones may or may not be. I don't know. I certainly you would not be able to visit with them. They wouldn't want you to for good reason. Whether clandestine or not, I don't know. Um, Sometimes, Mister, we will certainly if I'm looking for a job and there's a Mason in my lodge who knows about a job or is hiring, I would hope he would tell me and let me put my resume in. But I'd also hope he would not give me any special treatment beyond that and beyond the knowledge and would hire me or not hire me based on my qualifications. Oh, I mean, it's a good question. It's valuable. What does it mean if you're a quote unquote underground Masonic lodge? Are you recognized, not recognized? It's really interesting to think about, right? How much you got to pay? It depends, Mista, on the lodge. Every lodge sets its own dues and sets its own costs, and it's going to depend on how expensive it is where you're at, right? So, for example, if you happen to be meeting in a Masonic lodge in New York City, um, it's going to be probably pretty expensive. If you're meeting with a Masonic lodge in small town Texas, it's going to be cheaper. I mean, what I would say is, what I would say is, I'm a member of five Masonic lodges. The most expensive Masonic lodge is $250 per year. The cheapest is $25 per year. So there's a wide variety of costs. Really, all that matters is, are you willing to, like, at the start of your application process, you should ask the Masonic Lodge, how much does it cost? Um, how much does it cost to join, and how much are the yearly dues? And if it's not affordable for you at the time, then just explain that. We should get Pizza Hut coupons, then you can always look at joining later. And there are times where after you've joined, if let's say you're struggling financially and can't afford the dues, the lodge will, provide you with benevolence or help you cover the cost of it. What would be the reason to reject, like reason to reject you? I mean, I don't know. I always say don't do the job for the lodge. If you're interested in joining, but you think there might be things that would, they would not let you join for, it depends what they are. Like you have to believe in a supreme being, but as a general rule, there's nothing wrong with going to the lodge and expressing your interest in joining and going from there, right? They may decide to say no for whatever reason. We don't think you're right for the lodge, and that's perfectly fine, and that is their right to do. But you shouldn't let that possibility stop you from applying to join. Yes, you have to believe in a supreme being. You don't have to be of a particular religious faith. We have Masons of all different faiths, backgrounds, and beliefs. Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Jewish, whatever else it might be. But yes, you have to believe in a supreme being of some sort to join. Um, so it's just one part of being a Freemason. I mean, I don't know if I'd use the term above all, Slick Rick. Obviously, we're not putting Freemasonry above our civic responsibilities and our civic duties and our families. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the application process, it is our decision making. But so if you're an atheist, there are some liberal orders of Freemasonry that you can join, but Supreme Being is defined so broadly that a lot of people who think they're atheists could probably still join. Like my Supreme Being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry. So Nope, we do not, and nor should we. Nobody's irrational, but I see we got the blonde jokes coming in the stream now. Well, that's a terrible supreme being. That's a human being. I would say that might not count. Um, I mean, this idea of my people come first, and the idea of like you fill up your lifeboat. You need to be really careful about that. I would not want Freemasonry to exist in that sense. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's helpful to the craft because it casts dispersions on us, and I think ultimately it creates more harm in society than otherwise. So he is, that's true. There is no Freemasonry in North Korea, at least no official Freemasonry. You can say that if you want. Now you're getting to trolling territory, so we might be putting you in timeout in a second. Um, no worries, Rondo. I'm going to be ending this stream soon, but I will be back on tonight at 1 a.m. And then tomorrow it's going to be a relatively short stream at 1 p.m. because I'm going to be focused on professional wrestling. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling at St. Clair College is going to be a blast. They sold it out, and it is return of Canadian professional wrestling to television, to TSN. So that's going to be pretty incredible to see as well. You're picking some interesting supreme beings, but all right, Mr. You do that. To everybody who's just joining us, please take a moment. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to be ending this stream shortly because I got to get ready for the rest of the day. Got a lot of stuff to prepare for. I do have to exercise tonight as well. I'll post some stuff of me exercising, getting ready for tomorrow. I thought Joe Biden was a pretty good president, to be honest. It's kind of a side note, but I liked him a lot. Just going to wait for a couple more minutes, wait to see if anybody else jumps on to say hello, and then I'll be ending this stream. You don't have to state the supreme being, Andre. You have to be able to say that, you believe in a supreme being, that the supreme being you believe in favors virtue. This is in Ontario. And that the supreme being, in some way, shape, or form, has made his will known to man. So the way, for me, for example, I believe in a supreme being that is the rational nature of the universe. The rational nature makes its will known to us through geometry and science and observations of the physical world. And that supreme being favors virtue. Virtue meaning the ability to live in accordance with nature. Because if we do good things, we get a good outcome. If we ignore the rational nature of the universe, bad things happen. For example, if we ignore gravity and the rational way gravity reacts, we'll jump off buildings and hurt ourselves. I mean, many people are irrational on rum. That is why it's probably for the best to not drink too much of it. Now you're just picking random names at this point. I mean, that's not how it works. There's no selector of applications. There are what is called sponsors, but to get a sponsor, that's a matter of going to the lodge, expressing your interest in joining, and going from there. Your focus needs to start on talking to the lodge and learning more about them, getting to know them, and then you look at getting a sponsor at that point. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I hope you enjoyed me going through my X account and talking about some of the things I've posted and why I posted them and why I've reposted them, quoted them. I'm trying to grow my social media, so please follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, follow me across all my different channels. I hope you found the information useful and helpful, and I'll be back on tonight at 1 a.m. Honestly, Andre explores it. If somebody, no, you cannot bribe your sponsor, no bribery. If you were to come to me and say your supreme being is the breath of life, I'd accept it. I mean, it's a supreme being. It makes its will known to man, I suppose, with every breath that we take. And if we stop breathing, we're going to know about it pretty soon. And it favors virtue in that it favors us continuing to breathe, which I would say is a pretty virtuous activity. I would not, mister. That's not how it works. If you want to support the channel, you can. You can do a variety of different things, including and not limited to commenting on videos, subscribing, following me on Patreon. However, none of that equates with bribes. It's not going to make a difference at all in terms of whether you get sponsored or not. Plus, if you're not joining my lodge, I could not sponsor you. So I thought Joe Biden did a pretty good job considering the very challenging time he was president. All right, guys, thank you all so much. I will see you. I will see you guys very soon. I'll see you tonight at 1 a.m. Or I guess tomorrow at 1 a.m.